Well, all right, folks, good morning. My name is Torrin Radiccioni. I just want to let you guys know we're going to record this webinar today for future promotional purposes. This webinar will be made available to you and everybody else through our YouTube page, our podcast recording the impact, and any other promotional resources we may deem necessary. If anybody feels uncomfortable with us sharing this recording, please let me know, and we'd be more than happy to make sure that you are redacted from it. So, with all of that legal jargon out of the way, my name is Torrin Radiccioni. I am from Sustainable CT. Welcome to our May edition of our Sustainable CT Coffee Hour. It's so wonderful that you guys could be on today. It looks like we have a little bit more of an intimate audience today, so that will be wonderful because our topic is about the Sustainable CT website. I do have other members of the Sustainable CT team on today. So if any of them would like to take themselves off mute and introduce themselves, please feel free.
I will. I'm Mary Dickerson. I'm the certification program manager for Sustainable CT. And if any of you are Sustainable CT team members in your own communities, feel free, if you ever have questions about action items or certification, to reach out. My contact information is on the website.
Thanks,
Hi,
Mary.
everyone. My name is Nicole Govert. I'm sorry you can't see my face, but my camera refused to work this morning. I am a recent addition to Sustainable Connecticut, just started on Monday. I am a program assistant, so I am excited to be learning along with you all and getting more familiar with the website.
Thank you, Nicole. So, as Nicole said, the topic of today's conversation is the Sustainable CT website. I do see that we have a more intimate audience today. I did have planned a necessary tutorial about how to run through the Sustainable CT website, but I do want to entertain those questions that you may have already. So if anybody feels ready to take themselves off mute, maybe talk about how they're using the Sustainable CT website or who they are and how they're helping their town, please feel free.
Hi, my name is Amalia Shaltiel, and I've already met Mary, and we're a new team in East Haddam, a sustainability team, and I'm kind of running it forward, but everyone is very involved. I think for me, that first, and we also have people that have run through this program, but I haven't before. So one of our members has been the lead person in Bristol, so he knows how to upload. But I find that first upload is so very daunting, just to make sure that I'm doing it right and getting all the information. So I would really appreciate a kind of example of loading, step-by-step loading of the information on the site.
Awesome. Thank you for reaching out, Amelia. So yeah, I will probably go through an application today. I'll probably select one action and go through the steps on how to maybe submit and get that completed on an application. Does that sound good?
Yeah,
Wonderful.
and also answer questions because it's just how to write the cover letter is really one of the things, and then how to know what to submit as references is kind of daunting. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, we'll go and we'll talk through that today as well. I do see that I have Dion Craig and Matt Knickerbocker from the town of Bethel. It looks like they're also, they've launched their sustainability commission. So congrats to you both. Any questions at all about the website, please feel free to put them in the chat and we'll be more than happy to cover them. Anybody else, please feel free to take yourself off mute. Please feel free to voice your problems or concerns about the website, and we're more than happy to go through them today. Oh, all right. Well, if we're not going to have any right now, we are actually just going to go through and we'll actually, Amelia, we're going to go and look at maybe a sample action on the website. So please pardon me while I pull up my screen share.
And my name is Sean. I'm part of the Bethel committee too. Just joined.
Oh, awesome, Sean. Any questions as of right now about the website that we can help you with?
Not yet. Thank you.
Let's see.
Okay. And while you're doing that, Tori, is it Torin? Sorry. Hi, so my name is Susan Young, and I am with Posigen, and I know our Solar for All program meets one of the action for sustainable CT, and I just wanted to be on the call. I love being on these coffee hours, so definitely I'll be hanging around for a few minutes, but just wanted to learn more about, the site and what's going on, okay?
Wonderful. No, Susan, thank you for stopping in. We love it when our no-cost assistance partners come in and help, come in and pop in and make a face and make a presence. So thank you for stopping by. I always see you on these webinars, so it's nice to introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Torin. I'm Catherine Hebert. I'm chairperson now of the Bethel Sustainable Commission.
Oh, so it seems like Bethel is on and making its presence today.
We are
I'm glad
on.
that all of you guys are here today. It is wonderful. So, all right, so let me start, Amelia, by pulling up the Sustainable CT website, and let me share my screen. Please bear with me, folks. All right, so let me go to so this is the Sustainable CT website. If anybody's not familiar with the URL, it's www.sustainablect.org. And this is more or less our landing page of what Sustainable CT is. In the What's New box, you'll find out maybe some of the latest events, some of the more latest promotional postings that we've had. We have the Impact, which is our Sustainable CT podcast. We have our Climate Leader webinar, and then we also have the promotion for this coffee hour today. For people that need to access their dashboard, my first thing and my first recommendation is for people to sign in with their Sustainable CT account. I'm assuming everybody on this call either has created or knows somebody within their team that has created a Sustainable CT account. Is there anybody that needs me to familiarize with them about the process on how to do so? Okay, so it doesn't look like we have too many people that need help learning how to create an account.
You do have one, Torin. So if you want to just run through that quickly, I think it would be helpful.
Wonderful. Yeah, so let me sign out and let me sign back in so
Okay.
people can get the full effect. So when you go to the home page and you haven't signed in yet, you'll have this white box at the top that says sign in. And when you click that white box, it will bring you to this page, the sign in page, where you either log in with your Sustainable CT account, or you will then sign up for a new account. So what you will do to sign up for a new account is you would click this nice big blue box that says sign up now. And I will click that for you guys as needed. When you click this, we only ask for a few things, first and last name, like any other account site would want when you're creating a new account, a password, and they would want you to confirm that password as well as your email address. The email address would be something that you would use to log on going forward, as well as the password that you would need to access your Sustainable CT account. So I'm going to do that with mine. And as well, if you guys are using the account, I understand that there are 2 times in which a town really needs to access their application to submit for certification. If any of your sustainability team members forget their Sustainable CT password, we do have a link where you can click, you would input your email, and then an email would get sent to you where you could reset your password. If you have any troubles accessing that email, I would suggest you checking your spam folders. Some email platforms notice that automatic email replies are automatically spam. And that's why sometimes we have that issue with users. So I'm going to log into my account. And the first thing that I'm going to see, since I'm a staff user, is my reviewer dashboard. But if you are a town user, you would actually be viewing your municipal dashboard. So your municipal dashboard is basically your hub for your town when you want to update your application, add new users, and now at this point, update the Climate Leader application, which is now a new feature that we've added to the Sustainable CT website, as well as managing your municipal users and downloading a resolution that you guys signed to participate with Sustainable CT. So Amelia, I believe the first question that you had was how to submit and mark an action completed on an application, correct?
I'm sorry. could we go back to creating an account?
No problem. Who am I speaking
This
with?
is Dion Craig. I just have a question. So, so the town of Bethel will set up an account, I'm assuming.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
If the town of Bethel isn't already registered in our program, they would probably set up an account for the town to work on the sustainable CT application.
Okay, and we probably already have. So, so if, as I am the administrator for the first selectman's office, and so I'm also the recording secretary for the board, and we'll be doing a lot of the administrative work. So I'm going to need to be able to have access to that. But as many people as we want, like the whole committee can also have their own account and sign into the same Bethel account. That's correct?
Right. So if you, it really depends on how the team really wants to manage their sustainable CT account. If the town would rather have it where each member has their own account to work on the website, that's fine. We've also found it more productive for if towns just have one overarching account so that other people can go in with that information and manage the different sub or action categories within the application. We found that that works out too. It really kind of depends on how the town wants to approach the formation of the sustainability team going forward.
And I kind of see where it would be myself and probably the chair that would want to be able to have access to this. So you can have more than one person.
Right. If you want, Dion, I could actually go through the process of how to add and remove users from a town's municipal dashboard, if that makes everything a little bit easier for you guys.
If you could do it really quick, it would just help me.
Yeah, so so that would actually happen when you log into the Sustainable CT website. So sorry, I have to log in again. So from the municipal dashboard, and again, you can get to the municipal dashboard. When you log in, you'll have a blue button at this top right corner that says dashboard, and you can click it. You can also hover over the My Account at the top of the homepage or anywhere on the website, and it will be this first option called Municipal Dashboard. And when you click that, you'll be brought here, and you would want to scroll down to where your town is located. I have Test Town because this is our Test Town account for when we add new features to the website. But here in your case, it would say Bethel.
Okay.
So from here, in terms of adding users, you would actually go to Manage Municipal Users. And when you click that, you'll be brought to this web page. So here you can see all of the owners, contributors, and viewers that a town account may have.
Okay.
So in your case, Dion, if you were already on the account, you would be an owner.
Okay.
And if you would want to add anybody, you would scroll down where it would say add a user. So you would enter the name of the person that you would add. So in this case, it would be the other person that you would be administering this application.
Okay.
And you would select the role that you would want them to have, either owner, contributor, or viewer. An owner would be someone that can add or remove other owners and contributors, as well as do work in the application. Contributors can work in the application, but they can't remove or add any users. And then viewers are only allowed to view the application and not make any edits, and they cannot add anybody.
Okay.
So you would select the certain role that you would want to have for this person, and then you would click add user. And that would then trigger an automatic email response to that other user for them to either create an account. If they've already created an account, Dion, they would then be automatically added to Bethel's municipal dashboard.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No problem. I'm so glad that we could solve that issue. So let's see, going back to Amelia's issue. So for instance, going back to the municipal dashboard, we do see the town name under the account, and we're going to go and click this action right here, this option. It says update application. And when we click that feature, we will be brought to our town's application. So this is what I see in terms of a municipal user seeing Test Town's application. I see all of my categories. I see a filter bar where I can filter for the actions that are marked planned, completed, must revised, or even approved in our categories. I could even take a look at when the application was certified. I can look at all of our comments. But for now, really what I'm concerned with is actually updating an action. So I'm going to click into one of our actions. I'm going to click into action 1.1, which is optimized for equity. It's a required action in our program. And when I click into this, this is where I get to see the submitted action. So when I'm in this and I'm ready to submit my action, I have a multitude of different things I can kind of edit or play around with. So the first thing that I would want to take into consideration is the status bar. The status bar is really important for sustainability teams, because if you have multiple people working on your application, you can really then set the statuses and really show your sustainability team the progress that you're making on your application. For sustainability teams, the statuses that you have available to you are unplanned, planned, and completed. Unplanned means that really the town isn't really working on the application or the action to get certified. Planned could mean that the town is really pursuing the action for certification, but isn't really completed yet. And then completed means that the action is ready to go. We're ready to press the blue button and submit and have this action be reviewed. So I don't know if anybody on the call knows this, but when towns are submitting their application for certification, we would want towns to take all of the actions that they want reviewed for certification and set them to completed. Why, you may ask this? Well, because when a town submits for certification, the status itself is what we look at or what our reviewers look at in terms of what actions need to be reviewed for certification. Only actions that are marked completed are actions that we review. And without that status being changed, our reviewers wouldn't know that those are the actions that they would need to be reviewed. So it's very important when a town completes an action that they actually take that status from unplanned to planned and move it to completed. Also, there are also times where actions like action 1.1 has a range of different point totals. So let's say if a certain town completed an action and they have only received 10 or 20 points, they would make sure that within this action that they reflect the correct amount of points that they're submitting for. So like, let's say I'm working on action 1.1. I've submitted my equity toolkit. I know in action 1.1, one equity toolkit yields 10 points. So I'm going to make sure that I select 10 points under my requested points. My submission information box, this is very important because this helps reviewers know the sub-action or the subcomponent of the action that I'm submitting for, plus the amount of points that I'm applying for as well. To just be consistent with this demo, I've requested 10 points. So I will make sure that in the submission information, I will change the text box to make sure that this reflects that I'm applying for 10 points as well. And at any time when we make any kind of edits to these boxes at all, we would want to take and press this blue action, save action submission box. If anybody's familiar with the way in which Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel works, we always make sure that when working in those programs, we save our work frequently so that when we have a power outage or when we have an error with the document, we can always be reverted to the last possible setting in which we changed it. So this makes sure that all of our settings get changed in the process and all of our settings get saved in the process. So when we submit supporting documentation, this is really important because this shows what a town is doing in terms of the work that they're doing to get certified and get the points for certification. Inserting a document can be really tricky, but when you follow these necessary steps, submitting documentation for further actions will be easier as well. So just a couple of tips. A majority of the files that we accept are related to Microsoft Office. We do also accept PDFs, JPEGs, and PNGs as well. those files are easy to download and easy for our reviewers to review. If you guys have any questions or you have any files that are zipped, they may work, but if you're having troubles attaching them, always reach out. You can always reach out to us with any website questions via my personal email, and I will put that at the chat at the end of this presentation, or emailing us at info@sustainablect.org.
Can I
Sorry, I just want to make sure that
yeah, I seem to have an echo. I don't know why.
Amalia, I think you have two accounts open with us. So what's happening is one of your devices is picking up from the other device, and that's what's causing the echo.
Let me see if I can change that. Or
you can also type your question into the chat and then we can read it. That might be an easier way.
should I continue?
just 1 second.
Oh, uploading photos. Are you having troubles uploading photos, Amelia? So it could be that the photo file that you're trying to upload may not be supported by our application, and that's something I would have you reach out to our info@ or my personal email to address. But normally when we have anything like JPEGs or PNG files that we'd want to attach, we would attach them through this button. So this would be our choose file button. So when we click this, this will allow us to bring up any our file or any kind of our file manager. It may look a little different if you are an Apple user versus a Windows user. In this case, I do have a photo that I'm going to attach here. So I will just simply click this photo and click the open button. And it will have my, so when I click the open button, it will upload my file right here, but that doesn't complete the process. The next thing that we'd want to do is make sure that once we upload the file, we attach the file. So we see this blue button right here that says attach file. We are going to click it. Now, let's say I attach the photo, but the photo name isn't the correct photo name for our reviewer to see. It's going to be something that is related to me, not the application. We've built a feature in the back end where towns can then edit the file name right on the Sustainable CT website. You would simply click this link here where it says edit title, and you can then update the name of the picture or file that you would want to upload, and you would click update. And you would get a nice little confirmation message in red text saying the document name was updated successfully. And if we go down to our supporting documentation, you would see that the picture now is uploaded with the proper name.
Thank you. I'm still okay.
Sounds like you're still having some technical difficulties, Amelia. If you're still having any questions at all throughout this webinar, please feel free to email us at any time. I'm more than happy to set up a personal call. We can talk through some of your questions about the Sustainable CT website as well. Anybody else before I move on? Any questions about submitting supporting documentation? Right. So this is another, I guess we should just keep going through the action until we've actually marked it completed. So the next box that I want to bring to everybody's attention is the documentation details section. So the documentation details section is really great for when you're submitting a really hefty document. I know there's some actions in our program where we require you to submit a copy of your plan of conservation and development. Those documents are hundreds of pages long and take up a lot of space on a submission. But having the documentation details box is great because you're able to tell reviewers if there's a certain portion of that document you can review or you want to review. You can have input instructions saying, hey, see page 11 for sustainability concepts in our POCD. It really helps reviewers pinpoint the exact information that you guys need to get certified. And it really helps you guys kind of determine if there is a new person that is taking over the application, may have never seen the POCD before. It helps them guide them where that information is located as well. Our next box is our time frame for credit box. I'm assuming everybody's more or less familiar with time frame for credit. If not, I guess the brief explanation of it is we have towns that are able to submit actions for new action credit if it's something that they have never done before. But with the influence of sustainable CT, it is something that is new and fresh for the town. We consider that as new action credit. And for towns that are submitting for submissions that have stuff that have been done in years past, but may be still relevant to the town, we have the rolling credit feature as well. We make sure that we provide a box for towns that they can input their new action credit as well as the rolling credit. And this will help reviewers because if the action is for rolling action credit, but may not qualify for that submission as rolling credit, it will help reviewers for that reason, as well as the new action credit. If it's something new, the reviewer will be able to easily see that it's new as well. Our partners box. So if there is any organizations that worked with the town to complete the action, we recommend that towns include that as well. And then let's say there is a really awesome narrative that was supplied with creating this action submission. If you guys would like to include that, we ask that you guys include this in the additional information box. We've added a new feature for the sustainable CT application in years past. We really like to document the ways in which towns were influenced by sustainable CT to complete some of their actions. So we ask that if you do have the time, you take this box with consideration. If there was something that the town did that was new and it was really influenced by sustainable CT, you would check that box. If the action was previously completed and it was kind of pushed over the edge by the completion of sustainable CT, you would click the second box. And then if the action was previously completed and sustainable CT really didn't help influence the completion of this action at all, you would click that box. As always, when you're done, you would click Save Action Submission when you're done making these edits, just to be sure that the changes that you've made have been saved successfully. So that is pretty much it for taking an action and making sure and completing it to its fullest extent. That might have been a brief run through. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box or take yourself off mute. Great. It doesn't look like we have anybody or any questions, so I'm just going to move forward. I know today's conversation was also talking about how to submit for the new climate leaders feature. So I will more than happy to demo that as well. If anybody does not know, the climate leaders designation is something new that we've integrated into the Sustainable CT website and the Sustainable CT program. What it isn't a separate suite of actions, but rather an application process where towns can use the previous actions that we've pulled out as helping reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And we allow towns to basically receive a separate designation that they can use to promote their use or their reduction of greenhouse gas emissions within their community. So moving forward, let's see. To submit for the climate leaders application, it's basically the same way that you would submit for a sustainable CT application. You would head over to the My Account tab. You would click on Municipal Dashboard, and where it would say the name of your town, where it would say update application. If you are new to the climate leader function, which a majority of our towns are, it would say begin climate leader application. So you would click that. And thankfully, we only have one action for the climate leader designation. So when you click this action, it will be brought to the action submission. So the only thing that we really recommend, or we ask towns to, or we require towns to submit for this action, is the climate leader worksheet. And you will see that by visiting the climate leader designation action right up and clicking on climate leader action worksheet. And that will actually then download a copy of the worksheet where then you could use to complete to submit for application. So let me see. The worksheet itself, what we do require is that towns review their previous application. They mark whether or not the action was completed and the allotted points that they received for certification. They're submitting this worksheet, or once you have attached this worksheet, we ask that you mark this action to completed like any other action and save action submission. And once you are done with this application, if anybody's familiar with submitting for sustainable CT certification, this big blue button will become highlighted, so you'll be able to submit. And then you will receive your sustainability team leaders, and anybody that's associated with your account will receive an automatic email reply noting that the town submitted for climate leaders application. And from there, the sustainable CT review team will then review your application as needed and get back to you with the results. So that is essentially all that I kind of initially had planned for today. I really wanted this to be a situation where people that were attending the webinar had any other questions about the website, we can more than happy to talk through them in a more close setting. So if anybody has any questions on any of the run-throughs, any of the material that I covered today, please feel free to take yourselves off mute, put those questions in the chat, and we can go from there. I do see some questions in the chat, so that is good. I do see a question from Jennifer. Do you work with the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities? Yes, we're actually partnered with them. We are actually, I think, attending their annual conference this year. I don't think we will be announcing our fall certified communities, but we will be there making a presence, providing anybody any resources they may need to potentially get sustainable CT certified. And I know a majority of the Connecticut Conference of Municipality towns that are on the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities are also in sustainable CT. So I hope that answers your question. How about anybody from Bethel? Does anybody from Bethel have any questions about the sustainable CT website?
Hi there, this is Matt. No, that was very informative. I see my couple of our new commission members had to drop off for other meetings, but we'll follow up if we have any questions, but this has been very helpful. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Matt, before anybody goes, I just want to put my email information and my contact info in the chat. So if anybody has any questions at all, please feel free to contact me directly. As well, if anybody has any questions about the program, I will put in our general email as well. And the info@sustainableCT.org email, when you send that email, it will be sent to all of the staff members in Sustainable CTs. So you will actually be able to get one of our attention and we'll be able to direct the question to the correct person. With that, I don't want to really keep anybody. If anybody has any questions, yes, please feel free to reach out. I appreciate you for attending today's coffee hour, and I look forward to seeing you all in June.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Take care, folks.
Thank you.